You can replace this text with any text you wish. You can either write in this text box or paste your own text here. Try different languages and voices. Change the speed and the pitch of the voice. You can even tweak the SSML, speech synthesis markup language, to control how the different sections of the text sound. Click on SSML above to give it a try. Enjoy using text-to-speech. Shadows of exposure. The neon glow of the city flickered against the damp pavement as Jungkook and Lisa pressed themselves into the narrow alcove behind a shuttered storefront. The distant sirens of police cars mingled with the rumble of buses and the constant hum of late-night traffic, creating a chaotic symphony that mirrored the storm of their own hearts. Jungkook could feel his pulse settling just slightly, but the tension in Lisa's stance was taut as a drawn bowstring. "You shouldn't have followed me," she said, her voice low but sharp, carrying a mixture of reprimand and fear. Her eyes darted to every shadow, every flicker of movement along the street. "You have no idea what you're in for." "And neither do you," he replied, his gaze scanning the alley behind them. The adrenaline from the previous chase still surged in his veins, giving him a clarity he hadn't expected. "But running alone won't help either. You need me, whether you admit it or not." Lisa's laugh was bitter, almost metallic in its tone. "Need you? You barely know me, Jungkook. And trust me, what's happening, it's bigger than either of us can control." Her words did little to ease the knot tightening in his stomach. He wanted to argue, to insist that they could face anything together, but before he could respond, a new sound reached them, a soft vibration, almost imperceptible, yet filled with intent. A phone buzz. Not just any phone, but the one in Lisa's hand, and the screen flashed a single message that made her entire body stiffen. "They found me," she whispered, her fingers trembling as she shoved the device into her coat pocket. "They know where I went after the gallery." Jungkook's brow furrowed. "Who?" "The ones who don't want this video getting out," she said, her jaw tightening. "And trust me, Jungkook, it's not just some petty celebrity gossip. This is dangerous." For the first time, he realized the stakes weren't merely a viral video or a fleeting headline. They were entangled in something far larger, a web of secrecy, surveillance, and people willing to hurt anyone who got in their way. His mind raced, calculating escape routes, potential allies, and the logic behind staying close to her. "I don't care about the danger," he said, tone low but firm. "I'm not letting you face it alone. Not after today." Her eyes softened, just slightly, before hardening again. "You really don't understand, do you?" she said, shaking her head. "This isn't a game. The moment that camera caught us, it wasn't just cute footage or a viral moment. It was evidence." Jungkook's stomach dropped. Evidence of what? He didn't know, but the weight in her tone told him it was serious. Every instinct in him screamed that the situation was about to escalate far beyond what they had already endured. At a sudden noise, metal scraping against concrete, made both of them spin. A shadow moved across the end of the alley, deliberate, patient, calculating. Jungkook's hand instinctively went to Lisa's, gripping it tightly. Her gaze met his, a mixture of exasperation and acknowledgement. "Keep close," she said. "If they catch either of us, it's over. And not just over for the night. Over for everything." They moved, sticking to shadows, sliding past dumpsters, ducking beneath fire escapes, every sense heightened. The smell of rain-drenched concrete mixed with exhaust and the faint trace of her perfume. It was intoxicating in its intensity, pulling him closer. Even as danger pressed from all sides, as they turned a corner, Lisa froze suddenly, pressing Jungkook against the brick wall. From across the street, a group of men in dark jackets scanned the area, their faces obscured under caps and the glare of streetlights. One of them raised a hand, signaling. And in that single motion, Jungkook felt the chill of inevitability. Someone had seen them, and now the chase was far from over. Lisa's grip on his arm was like iron. "We have to split up," she hissed. "It's the only way to survive." He shook his head, refusing. "No, I'm not leaving you." Her eyes softened for the briefest moment, then hardened again. "Then we move smart, together. And Jungkook, you have to trust me. Absolute trust." The night swallowed them as they darted across the street, narrowly avoiding a taxi that screeched to a halt. In the distance, the hum of the city seemed to fade, replaced by the pounding of their own hearts. And as they disappeared into a labyrinth of alleyways, Jungkook realized that this was no longer a simple viral encounter. This was survival, intimacy forged in crisis, and a mystery that neither of them could ignore. In that moment, every fleeting glance, every shared breath, every heartbeat became charged with intensity. The world outside might see a brief video clip, a fleeting headline, but what mattered now was what unfolded in the shadows, between two strangers bound by circumstance, adrenaline, and a spark that neither could name but both could feel. And for the first time, Jungkook understood. Lisa's secrets were dangerous, yes, but so was the truth they were about to uncover. Secrets beneath the spotlight. The neon lights of the city blurred past as Jungkook and Lisa ducked into a narrow, deserted subway entrance. The echo of their footsteps bounced off grimy walls, mingling with the distant rumble of trains beneath them. The air smelled damp, metallic, and heavy with the faint scent of ozone. Jungkook's muscles tensed with every step, eyes darting to every shadow, ears straining for any hint of pursuit. Lisa stopped abruptly, pressing herself against the cold tiled wall. "This way," she whispered, pulling him down a side corridor barely wide enough for two. Her grip on his hand was firm but fleetingly tender, a silent acknowledgement of their shared desperation. "We can't stay on the streets. They're watching every angle." He glanced at her, realizing how little he actually knew about her. In less than 24 hours, she had shifted from a stranger to a puzzle he couldn't stop thinking about. Every flicker of emotion on her face, a mix of fear, defiance, and something almost sorrowful, hinted at a depth he wanted desperately to understand, yet feared probing. "What's in the bag?" he asked quietly. "Whatever they're after, it must be serious." Lisa's jaw tightened. She exhaled slowly, as if weighing how much to reveal. "It's not just a video," she said finally. "It's proof. Proof that certain people, powerful people, have been manipulating events behind the scenes for years. Dangerous things. Things that can ruin lives." Jungkook swallowed hard, the gravity of her words sinking into his chest like a stone. "So that's why they were chasing you?" "Yes," she said, her voice low but firm. "And now that video, our encounter, it's evidence. Viral or not, it can't exist in the wrong hands." He nodded, the adrenaline still coursing but now mingling with a deep sense of responsibility. "Then we protect it," he said. "Together." Her eyes softened, a fleeting moment of vulnerability before she hardened again. "You don't understand," she whispered, almost to herself. "You have no idea what you're stepping into." Before he could respond, the distant screech of train brakes echoed from the tunnels above. Lisa's gaze flicked upward, calculating, and she pulled him toward a hidden staircase that descended deeper underground. The smell of rust, damp concrete, and something faintly acrid filled the air, making him more aware than ever of the precariousness of their situation. "Why are you helping me?" she asked suddenly, her voice catching slightly. "No one else would risk this." He hesitated, searching for an answer beyond instinct. "Because I can't not," he admitted. "I don't know why. Maybe because I know what it's like to be watched, to be hunted, and I can't leave someone facing that alone." Her eyes met his, a flicker of something unspoken passing between them. But the moment was broken by the echo of hurried footsteps reverberating down the tunnel. Jungkook's grip on her arm tightened. They weren't alone. From the shadows, a figure emerged, tall, imposing, dressed in black from head to toe. Masked, but the way he moved, calculated and precise, left no doubt. He was trained, professional, and dangerous. Lisa froze, instinctively shielding the bag against her chest. "You shouldn't have come here," the figure said, voice smooth but threatening. "Step aside, and no one gets hurt." Jungkook stepped forward, positioning himself between Lisa and the stranger. "I'm not stepping aside." The masked man paused, assessing, then lunged with a speed that made Jungkook stumble back. In a blur of motion, he grabbed Lisa's bag, but she twisted, using her momentum to pull it back, and in the struggle, a sharp edge cut across her palm. She hissed, but refused to release her grip. Jungkook reacted instinctively, tackling the man with a force that sent them both sprawling against the wall. Concrete scraped his arm, adrenaline burning through the pain. Lisa's breaths were shallow, rapid, as she clung to the bag like her life depended on it, because it did. The fight was chaotic, brutal, yet precise. Every movement was calculated, every impact echoing with tension. Jungkook realized he had never moved like this before, yet his body responded with a clarity and purpose he hadn't known he possessed. And Lisa, she wasn't helpless. She struck, twisted, and maneuvered with a grace that was both terrifying and mesmerizing. Finally, with a coordinated effort, they managed to push the attacker back, disappearing into the shadows as he cursed, regaining his stance. But the victory was temporary. Footsteps multiplied, voices shouted from above. The city above, unaware of the storm brewing beneath its streets. Lisa leaned against the wall, breathing hard, eyes darting to Jungkook. "You've changed the game now," she said, voice trembling with a mixture of fear and awe. "They know we're together, and they'll escalate." He nodded, chest heaving, gaze fixed on the darkness ahead. "Then we escalate too," he said firmly. "We don't run anymore. We face it." The tunnel stretched before them, endless shadows and echoes promising danger, uncertainty, and revelations yet to come. Every step forward was a decision, every glance backward a memory of their narrow escapes. Jungkook realized that their connection, born from a viral moment, was now forged in fire and fear. And in the heart of the city's underground labyrinth, he understood that trust, courage, and the spark between them were the only weapons they truly had. The storm outside the tunnels raged on, but beneath it, Jungkook and Lisa moved with purpose, side by side, prepared to uncover the truth and survive whatever darkness awaited. The web tightens, the fluorescent flicker of the underground passage cast long, distorted shadows across Jungkook and Lisa's faces, highlighting the exhaustion etched into their features. Every breath felt heavy, each step measured, as if the concrete corridors themselves were conspiring to trap them. Lisa's hand clutched the bag with a fierce determination, her knuckles white, while Jungkook moved slightly ahead, scanning for any sign of pursuit. "We can't keep hiding here," Jungkook murmured, his voice low but urgent. "Eventually, they'll figure out every exit, every route. We need a plan." Lisa's eyes narrowed, scanning a wall covered in peeling posters and graffiti. "Plans are luxuries," she said sharply, her voice laced with tension. "We need actions, decisions made on the spot." The subtle tremor in her voice betrayed the weight she carried, a burden he could sense but not yet fully comprehend. Jungkook realized that behind her fierce exterior lay layers of fear, responsibility, and secrets carefully shielded from the world. Suddenly, a faint vibration echoed through the concrete floor. Jungkook froze, senses sharpening. Lisa's gaze flicked toward him, her pupils dilating. "Tracker," she hissed. "They've planted a device on me, or the bag." Without hesitation, Jungkook crouched, scanning the edges of her coat, the seams, the strap of the bag. His fingers traced the contours until he felt a small, almost imperceptible lump. Carefully, he pried it loose, a sleek, black tracking device, blinking softly. "They're closer than we thought," he said, voice tight. "And they've been watching us all along." Lisa's jaw tightened, and for a fleeting moment, the vulnerability she tried to conceal shone through. "I didn't want you involved," she admitted. "This, whatever it is, it's not just about me. It's bigger. And now, because of you, it's bigger for both of us." He shook his head, gripping her shoulder. "No, it's about survival. And we face it together. I'm not letting you face this alone, Lisa." Her gaze softened, but the faintest shadow of doubt lingered. Before either could speak further, a sudden clang reverberated down the tunnel. Shadows moved, converging from multiple directions. Jungkook's pulse quickened. He recognized the precision in their approach. Professionals, trained, relentless. "Move," Lisa hissed, grabbing his arm. They darted through a narrow side passage, the walls closing in, the air growing thick with dust and tension. Every step, every turn seemed calculated by fate, as though the labyrinth itself conspired to test them. That a faint light flickered ahead, an old service elevator, rusty but functional. Lisa slammed the call button repeatedly, her hands trembling. Jungkook's eyes scanned the corridor behind them. The figures were close, closing in, methodical in their pursuit. The elevator groaned as the doors opened, and they slipped inside, pressed close together in the confined space. The metallic scent of oil and rust mingled with their shared adrenaline, making every breath sharp and tangible. Lisa leaned back, eyes fixed on the ceiling, as if willing herself to calm the storm within her. "They won't stop," she murmured, almost to herself. Not until they have it. And not until they know everything. Jungkook's gaze softened. Then we make sure they never do. The elevator shuddered to life, descending into darkness. Every second stretched into an eternity, every shadow outside the metal doors a potential threat. And as they sank deeper underground, the weight of their situation pressed on them, unrelenting in the dim glow of the elevator panel. Lisa finally spoke, her voice quieter, almost hesitant. There's something you need to know about the bag, about me, about why they're after us. Jungkook leaned closer, heart hammering. Tell me. She exhaled sharply, eyes flicking to the tiny red light of the tracking device still clutched in his hand. It's not just evidence, she admitted. It's proof of a conspiracy that touches people higher up than you or I can imagine. People who control what the world sees and what it doesn't. And if it gets into the wrong hands, her voice trailed, heavy with implication. He swallowed hard, feeling the gravity of her words settle over him. The viral video, the chase, the danger, it was no longer about a fleeting encounter in the city. It was about exposing truths powerful people wanted buried. And somehow, through sheer coincidence or fate, they were the ones holding the key. The elevator shuddered again, descending further. Outside, footsteps echoed, distant but unmistakable. The hunt was far from over. But in that moment, Jungkook understood something crucial. Fear could sharpen them, but trust could save them. And as the doors creaked open to an underground labyrinth filled with pipes, shadows, and secrets, he and Lisa stepped forward together, ready to confront whatever awaited them. Because running was no longer an option, and the web of danger was tightening around them with every heartbeat. Crossroads of trust, the underground labyrinth stretched endlessly before them, a twisting network of pipes, broken tiles, and shadows that seemed alive. The faint hum of machinery resonated through the corridors, vibrating in Jungkook's chest like a warning drum. Every step they took echoed ominously, amplifying the sense that someone, or something, was always watching. Lisa led the way, her movements precise and deliberate, but there was a subtle tension in her shoulders that betrayed fear she tried desperately to mask. Jungkook noticed it, and for the first time, he sensed the depth of responsibility she carried, not just for the evidence in her bag, but for herself, for him, and perhaps for lives far beyond their own. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Jungkook asked quietly, his voice low, almost drowned by the distant thrum of machinery. About the conspiracy, the stakes, everything? Lisa glanced at him, her eyes momentarily softening before hardening again. Because I couldn't, she admitted. Some truths are dangerous before you're ready. And right now, you're in deeper than I wanted you to be. He shook his head, determination flickering in his eyes. Doesn't matter. I'm here, and I'm not leaving. You can't protect me from this. I'll face it with you. Her lips pressed into a thin line, a mixture of admiration and frustration. You don't understand. They're organized, methodical. People you don't even know could disappear if they get involved. And now, because of today, you're part of that risk. Jungkook stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Then we find a way to survive it together. I trust you, and you have to trust me. For a moment, the underground world around them faded, leaving only the intensity of their shared gaze. It was a fleeting intimacy forged in chaos and danger, the kind that made adrenaline and fear indistinguishable from connection. But reality intruded violently as a shadow moved across the far corridor, deliberate and silent. They're here, Lisa whispered, voice barely audible, but filled with the weight of inevitability. Jungkook's muscles tensed. We face them. Lisa hesitated, then nodded. Yes, but carefully. We don't just survive, we fight smart. They expect fear. We give them strategy. The corridor ahead opened into a cavernous maintenance room, pipes snaking across the ceiling, rusted metal crates stacked haphazardly. It smelled of oil, mold, and something faintly chemical, a scent that made their skin crawl. Jungkook's eyes adjusted to the dim light, noting potential escape routes, possible hiding spots, and the subtle movements in the shadows. From the far side, footsteps multiplied, slow and deliberate. Two men emerged, dressed in black, masks obscuring their faces. Their stance was professional, calculated. Men who had been trained to track, intimidate, and eliminate. Lisa tightened her grip on the bag. Stay close, she whispered. We can't let them see fear. Jungkook moved beside her, mirroring her posture, their presence synchronized as if instinctively trained. The men paused, scanning, and one finally spoke. "Hand it over. Now." Lisa's gaze flicked to Jungkook. "No," she said firmly. "You won't get it." The confrontation escalated instantly. The men lunged, swift and precise, but Jungkook and Lisa were prepared. Their movements intertwined, a dance of survival. Lisa ducking and pivoting, striking with calculated force, Jungkook intercepting, blocking, reacting with instinctive precision he didn't know he possessed until now. A scuffle erupted, echoing through the cavernous room, metal clashing, footsteps pounding, breaths ragged. Jungkook felt a sharp sting as one man's elbow grazed his ribs, but he pushed forward, adrenaline sharpening every sense. Lisa's eyes blazed with controlled fury, her strikes purposeful, her awareness acute. Finally, with a coordinated effort, they forced the attackers back, retreating toward a side exit Jungkook had spotted moments before. The men regrouped, frustrated but restrained. They were experienced, patient, and relentless. Outside, the labyrinth narrowed into a service tunnel, dimly lit and smelling of damp concrete. Jungkook and Lisa paused, catching their breath, adrenaline surging in waves. "You see now," Lisa said, voice low, eyes scanning for any trace of pursuit. "Why I didn't tell you everything before. This isn't a game. Every step we take from here matters. And people will die if we slip." Jungkook nodded, resolve hardening. "Then we don't slip. And we don't run. Not from them. Not from the truth." Her eyes softened slightly, though the weight of the situation was still etched in every line of her face. "You're reckless," she said softly, almost a whisper. "But I think we might just survive this. If we're smart. Together." And in that moment, amid the shadows of the underground, with danger pressing from all sides, Jungkook realized that survival wasn't just about avoiding threats. It was about trust, strategy, and the unspoken bond that had formed between them. A connection forged in fear, adrenaline, and the spark of something neither could name, yet both could feel. They moved forward, side by side, into the labyrinth, knowing the web around them was tightening, but also knowing that, together, they might just find a way to untangle it. The final exposure rain hammered the city streets, turning neon reflections into a blur of red and blue on slick asphalt. Jungkook and Lisa crouched behind a steel barricade on a rooftop. The city sprawled beneath them like a living organism, unaware of the storm raging above and the storm raging within them. The bag rested between them, its weight suddenly symbolic, not just evidence, but the embodiment of truth, risk, and their shared journey. "They're coming," Lisa said, voice taut, eyes scanning the distant ledge where shadows shifted like predators. "This is it. No more hiding." Jungkook inhaled sharply, the wind whipping his hair, soaking him, but his focus was unyielding. "Then we face them. Together." Lisa hesitated, and for the first time in days, she allowed herself a flicker of vulnerability. "You have to know, what's in this bag isn't just proof of manipulation or corruption. It's names, plans, and secrets that could topple people who think they're untouchable. And if they catch us before it's released," her voice broke slightly, "it's over." He reached out, taking her hand. "Then we make sure it isn't over. Not for us. Not for anyone else this affects." The storm intensified, lightning flashing across the skyline as two men emerged from the shadows, weapons raised, but hesitant. They were trained, professional, but tonight, Jungkook and Lisa's resolve had hardened into something almost tangible. The confrontation was tense and deliberate. Every movement mattered. Jungkook blocked, ducked, and struck with precision, Lisa weaving beside him, their synergy seamless. They weren't just surviving. They were orchestrating every action, anticipating, countering, protecting the bag. Finally, after a tense standoff that seemed to stretch into eternity, the attackers faltered. One tripped over the edge of a vent, the other slipped on rain-slicked metal. Jungkook and Lisa didn't hesitate. They pushed forward, sprinting toward the helicopter waiting on the other side of the rooftop. An extraction Lisa had secretly arranged, a plan that relied on timing, daring, and trust. As the helicopter's blades cut through the rain, lifting them into the stormy sky, Lisa exhaled, letting the weight of tension slip from her shoulders. "We survived," she whispered, though her eyes still reflected the chaos they had endured. Jungkook turned to her, water dripping from his hair, eyes locking with hers. We did more than survive. We exposed the truth. Together. Lisa smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and lingering tension. I couldn't have done this without you, she admitted, voice quiet but steady. He shook his head, gripping her hand. No, we did it together. And whatever comes next, we face it the same way. The helicopter lifted higher, piercing the storm clouds, carrying them away from the labyrinth of shadows, conspiracies, and danger that had threatened to consume them. Below, the city was alive, oblivious to the revelations soon to ripple across screens and social feeds. The viral video, once a fleeting moment, had transformed into a catalyst for truth, courage, and exposure of those who thought they were untouchable. In the cabin, as rain streaked the windows and lightning illuminated their faces, Jungkook and Lisa allowed themselves a rare, quiet moment. Exhaustion, relief, and something unspoken passed between them. For all the danger, the pursuit, the fear, they had forged a connection deeper than circumstance, a bond of trust, survival, and shared purpose. And as the helicopter cut through the night sky, carrying them into the unknown future, one thing was certain. Their lives had been irrevocably changed, their encounter no longer just a fleeting viral moment. It had become legend, a testament to courage, truth, and the indomitable human spirit shared between two people who chose to face danger side by side. They had survived the storm. They had faced the shadows. And now, for the first time, Jungkook and Lisa could look forward, together, into the light of a new beginning.